Well, it says we're live. Hey, Ken, how are you? John, good to see you. Jeff, how are you? Cryptid 559559. Hello there.
Pork and beans. You forgot pork and beans.
Yeah, pork and beans. Howdy. Hey, Tim. Tim, you still got the wrench, so you're still the moderator for us. You guys are dropping in fast. Uh, we're starting a little early, guys. I originally scheduled this for 8:30, but as y'all can see, at 8:30 it's going to be plumb dark out here. So we wanted to get started a little bit early. Um,
Hi, Penny. Welcome to the channel.
Yeah, hey guys. Guys, this is as far back in the woods as we've been since we first started these live streams. We're way back there. We're kind of set up. I don't know if you can tell too much about it or not, but we're set up on the edge of an old logging road that kind of runs through this part of the property and runs on down eventually and hits the creek back in the other part of the property, and then this old logging road winds on through the property back this way. So we're set up pretty far back in the woods tonight, guys. Um, just to let you guys know, uh, we got down here yesterday around noon, I guess, and we've had some action both yesterday and today, especially down at the gifting area. And the, can you guys hear me okay? I'm here just rattling, and I don't even know if you guys can hear me. Somebody let me know if you can hear me.
Saw Drew pop in.
Hey, Drew, how are you?
Taking care of Corey for me.
Lost my train of thought. Oh, we got down here yesterday, probably about around noon, and as soon as we got out of the truck, we found some evidence where they had been around the cabin. I posted a video this afternoon, kind of outlining what we found. Um, the gifting area from where we're located now is to our left and forward. Oh, I don't know, maybe a couple of 100 yards out there. Uh, but again, this is as far back as we've been able to get since we started this. We're right in the hot zone where all the activity's been going on. So um, again, want to have you guys help us and kind of watch behind us back here for any movement or any eye shine or anything like that that might go on. And as we go forward tonight, if you guys have any questions for us, uh, just on the chat, just be sure and put it in all caps so we'll be able to see it. This the chat moves so fast. If it's not in all caps, we're gonna miss a lot of them.
Yeah, John, don't forget to hit the like button. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, John, they did take some of your airheads that we had left down at the gifting area. I kind of hope they bring them back, but
they did the last time. They took it and then they brought it back.
Yeah, remember? That's right. They brought it and left it up at the trailer, or at the steps where the trailer was.
So to pick up where we left off on our last live, because I ran like a scared jackrabbit, and I can't promise you I won't do that again. But what we were experiencing here was pretty scary. I think even Bill, even though he said it was cool, you noticed he did pick up his chair and join me. But what we had was they had triaded us and they were stomping their feet to communicate. And it was just getting a little bit too close for comfort for me. So I grabbed my stuff and ran. And yeah, I promise you that won't happen again.
Guys, we think last live stream we did, we had 3 that were on different sides of us. And what was really strange was as the night went on, we could actually hear them communicating with one another. They were using hand claps. They were clapping their hands. They were stomping their feet. Uh, they were making those low guttural sounds and throwing rocks. We had multiple rocks thrown at us while we were sitting out here doing the live stream. So um, they were definitely on property that particular night, and they were letting us know that they didn't want us out here. They just didn't like us out here with the lights and everything that was going on. So uh, as Sheila said, when we shut it down, it had got pretty. I'm not going to say that we were in harm's way, but uh, when we did shut it down, they were letting us know that they didn't want us out here and they wanted us to vacate the area. So we did.
Even though we own the property.
Yeah, we let them have it that night. Yeah, they were telling us you guys don't need to be out here, and but it was really cool to hear them communicating with one another the way that they were doing it. We had one to our left and behind us. We had one to our right, and then we had one across in the other wood line. And it was really cool to hear them doing the hand claps and the foot stomping and the low guttural. It wasn't really a growl. It was just a low guttural tone of some sort. And then, of course, the rock throwing that went on pretty much all night. Let me give you all a quick summary of what we found when we got here yesterday. As soon as we got here and got the truck unloaded and got everything situated, the first thing we always do is go down to the gifting area, check that, and then check the steps where our travel trailer used to be. Last time we were here, y'all might remember that they had taken a Y stick and turned it upside down and propped 2 boards up on top of it. And yesterday when we got here, first thing we did was check the steps there, and there was a double Y stick. There were 2 Y sticks that had grown together, and they had left that on the doorsteps where our travel trailer used to be. We've since sold that travel trailer, and it's not here on property anymore. After that, we went on down to the gifting area, and there were quite a few things going on down there. They had taken all of the rocks except the blue rock. They left the blue rock there, but the arrowheads, all the other rocks, different colored rocks that we had left there, they had taken those. They had taken there was a little red squeaky toy that had been down there for months, and they hadn't touched it. But this time they took it. It's gone. They took the blanket off of the baby Bigfoot doll. Sheila had the baby Bigfoot doll wrapped up in a blanket, and Sheila had left it like that. Well, they took the blanket off the baby Bigfoot doll. Sheila said it was because it was so hot down here that they didn't want that blanket on the baby Bigfoot doll. Again, we left a Tupperware bowl down there with some apples and treats in it with the lid sealed on it. Well, the lid was taken off and all the treats were gone. We examined that Tupperware bowl really a lot, and there are no chew marks on that bowl anywhere, like a possum or a coon might have been trying to chew their way into it. One of the interesting things that we found some greasy, muddy fingerprints on the lid of that Tupperware bowl. Uh, what looked like a large thumbprint, and then maybe an index finger print that was kind of, it was, I think it was so greasy that that mud had got caked in there, and it was very evident that they were fingerprints on that Tupperware bowl. Uh, Sheila had left 2 water bottles down there, and they had taken the lid off one of the water bottles, consumed the water, threw the bottle down, but this time they didn't put the cap back on it. They just threw the cap down there with that water bottle. So quite a bit of activity down at the gifting area.
This time when I reloaded it, I put Crisco around the bow. Hopefully we can get a clearer fingerprint if they do it again. I lined it with Crisco, so if they take the lid off, they've got to have their fingers around there. Hopefully we can get a clear picture. The ones that we got, I mean, we couldn't, if we took a picture of it, you wouldn't see it. But if you're holding it up to the light and let the light shine through the Tupperware, you can see fingerprints in it.
So since then, we have completely set everything else back up. The Tupperware bowl with the treats in it, and we've added a couple of things down there. A couple of more stuffed teddy bears, and I think one of them was a stuffed rabbit. Or
the teddy bears, one of them shirt says Chance, and the other one says Lucky.
Yeah.
And we'll see.
We'll see if they mess with those down there. So that kind of gives you an update, with the exception of we've been working around the place here pretty much all day, and we went in around lunchtime, had lunch, and guys, here in Texas, the heat during the day is just almost unbearable. It's been like 105 here every day, so pretty much midday, you got to get all your work done and get under the air conditioning. But we went in and had lunch and watched a movie and just kind of resting, enjoying the afternoon. As the afternoon wore on, we came back out for summer. Sheila did, came back out for some reason, walked by the steps of the where the travel trailer used to be, and on that double Y stick, they placed it was a rolled up piece of paper. It looked like it came off I don't know. I don't even remember what it was.
Some kind of insecticide or something that we don't use. We've never used here, but it was just like about this long, but it was rolled up almost like a cigarette. When I first looked at it, I had my glasses on. I thought, oh wow, they left us a cigarette. But when we went and picked it up, it was just that piece of paper that was rolled in toward itself, so it looked like that. And when you unroll it, it was a label to some kind of insecticide that we don't use here.
But they had taken that and placed it on top of that double Y stick. And guys, this had to be while we were in the cabin having lunch and watching a movie and enjoying the air conditioning this afternoon. Now, all afternoon long, stuff has hit the cabin. Every hour or so, I guess, 30 minutes or so, something would hit the cabin. So we're hopeful that they're still around, and we'll get some action tonight for you guys. This is as far back as we've been. We have not been this far back in the woods.
Yeah, Penny, it was like a scroll. That's the word I was trying to think of. It rolled up like a scroll. Exactly. I didn't think of that. But I might just add to that. I stay in during the heat. I'm just overly sensitive to the heat. So when Bill was outside, there was no noise. But when he came again, that's when we would get hits on the cabin. And once I thought he was outside, and I heard the noise, and then one of my dogs started having a fit. But what I heard was it sounded like a hit on the door. I've got a storm door and then a big metal door, and it sounded like a hit on that storm door, and my dog just went crazy. And then I heard footsteps, and I thought Bill was in, so I said, "Hey, Bill, are you in here?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm back here." So that happened while he was inside. That something hit the door, and I heard footsteps, which I don't like them getting close to my door. But like I said, even the dog heard it. The dog took off toward the door.
Yeah, it's been a little crazy around here today and yesterday afternoon. So we're kind of pushed back in their area where they normally would be. So
here's a couple of questions. John asked, "Did we set up the fishing line tonight?" No, we didn't make it into town to get something to tie it to. We were kind of in a hurry. We're getting here, and we didn't get that set up. And Matt, do they slap the ground with hands like chimps do? To me, it sounded like stomping their feet. That's what it sounded like to me, because the leaves were rustling. Now I know Bill said that he thinks they clap their hands, and there was some of that too. But you could hear the leaves rustling, so that's why I think they were stomping their feet. So I guess they were doing a little bit of both.
hey, John.
And Caroline, I didn't really understand your question. Have we ever set up a game camera to face the mirror so we could get a clear picture? If you're talking about around the gifting area, we go back and forth about that, because our experience has been anytime we set up a game camera, they just will not come anywhere near it. They know it's there. And if you talk or follow any other researchers, you'll hear most everybody say the same thing, that if you put a camera up, they're more than likely going to leave. But I didn't really understand about what you were talking about, having the game camera face a mirror so we could get a picture of them.
Now, down at Robert's research area, y'all might remember, those of you that followed Robert Dotson, he put a full-length mirror down in the woods and had a game camera positioned where if they came around that mirror that he would get some video, and he never got any video of them around that mirror, but what he did get was a lot of huge handprints and fingerprints on that particular mirror. Now, we have not set one up here on our property. We just talked about that the other day, about setting a mirror up down there and seeing what type of reaction that we could get by putting a mirror down there. But the game camera, it's happened so many times to us where you're having a lot of activity in a particular area. You go set a game camera up and it just absolutely ceases any activity. You go pull the game camera down and things seem to start picking up again. That's been our experience multiple times. They just will not come around in an area where there's a game camera. Now, how do they know it's there? That's one of the questions that we're out here trying to get answered. Did they watch us set them up? Do they hear the mechanism? Do they see the hour light? Just questions that we don't. Something hit me on the arm.
There's a bug.
But they just, for whatever reason, know that game camera is there, and they'll cease any activity in that area. That's the reason we've not put one down at the gifting area.
Now, the game cams down where we hunt, we see interesting stuff frequently on that, and Robert experiences as well. There'll be like a stick that just kind of comes back and forth. in front of the camera. And it's not part of a tree, it's just one single little stick. Or we'll see like just part of a hairy arm. I mean, that's what it looks like. Who knows what it really is? But they are very cautious not to get in front of the camera where you could get a full body picture or a facial picture. They somehow know, I don't know what they know about those cameras, but they are camera shy. They don't like to be caught on camera, but they do like to mess with them.
Yeah, they will mess with them, and we've had experiences, and especially Robert Dotson, I'm talking about, where they tore them off the trees and tore those straps into. And those of you that used game cameras before, you know how strong those straps are. They're really strong. And Robert had some where the straps were just completely ripped off of the tree, and uh, several times the game cameras were gone, and he never found them again. So we're just hesitant about using game cameras around an area where we know that there's activity going on. So now audio recorders a different story. They don't seem to shy away from an audio recorder. I've used an audio recorder in several situations and got a lot of good stuff. Uh, those of you that follow the channel may remember a month or so ago, I ran an audio recorder down at the Gifton area and uh, got some really interesting stuff on there. What sounded like something bipedal walking up there, picking up one of those water bottles, taking the lid off and drinking the water. But they don't seem to shy away from an audio recorder.
I think that's it. Just somebody asked how long we've been doing this.
Jordy asked how long have we been doing this. Jordy, we got started in this probably 2002, 2003, somewhere in that time frame. When we got that juvenile on game camera down in Coleman County, Texas. That's what really got us interested and got us started. Now, as far as really seriously doing this, we've been doing it about 4 or 5 years. We started the channel. The channel's about 2 years old now. And of course, we became an investigator for the BFRO 2 years ago. And so I guess about 10 years, we've been, with about the last 4 or 5, really been seriously pursuing, trying to gain as much information as we can about this unknown creature that we call Sasquatch or Bigfoot. And we've pretty much been all over the United States doing research. We've been out west, we've been east, north. We've been pretty much all over the United States, but our primary area now is southeastern Oklahoma. We bought this property here last October, and we also, let's see with that. Thought I saw a light back there. How did you guys meet Robert? John asked, how did we meet Robert? When we started doing serious research, John, we spent a lot of time on the computer, looking at videos, different researchers, how they did their research, and we ran across Robert Dotson and his videos and just became enthralled with him. The way that he approached his research and his out of the box thinking, and just the way he did it. And I told Sheila, we got to meet this guy. And it wasn't long after that, he posted on his channel that he was having a camp out. He was only going to take a few people. And so we applied to go. and he accepted us to go. And we went down to the Ouachita National Forest here in Oklahoma and camped out with Robert and uh, quite a few people from all over the United States. But it started raining that Saturday morning and poured down rain the whole weekend, so we got rained out. We came home, and a couple of days later, Robert sent me a message and said, "I'm sorry y'all got rained out. Why don't you and Sheila come back?" So we did. We went back, um, and through that, built a friendship with Robert and his research partner, Udale Head, and just built a friendship. And we'd go back every couple of weeks and spend 4 or 5 days with Robert and Udale down there doing research. And when Robert was diagnosed with a brain tumor, last time we saw him in the hospital before he passed away, uh, he asked that Sheila and I continue his research there on that property. And the gentleman that owns that property is also a good friend of ours. And in talking with him and Udale, then we were honored to continue Robert's research down there. So our property here in southeastern Oklahoma, which is not too far from Robert's area, and then Robert's research area there in the Ouachita National Forest is where we primarily do our research. So that's how we met Robert Dotson. Somebody asked, Andy gone fishing. Yeah, Andy, we found tracks here around the cabin. We've casted.
Mm-hmm. Which way did you hear it from?
That sounds like a howl. Sound like a howl, guys. We found tracks within 40 yards of the cabin here, and we casted a couple of them. Uh, but so yeah, we have found tracks right here around the cabin. Now we found tracks pretty much all over the property. We
Hold on just a second. There's something there. We had so much activity this afternoon. I'll keep going. Just hearing something there. And it's almost dark here for us, you guys, so keep an eye on our backside. However, we are completely surrounded in the woods right now. Yes, we need to see a psychiatrist, absolutely.
We're set up, guys. Again, this is as far back as we've been in doing these live streams. We're a pretty good ways back in here, and there's no logging road that runs through here. We're kind of set up on the edge of it, and it continues on back behind us down through there. So it's fairly open down that old road, but on both sides of us is just solid woods. I mean, right here, it's to my left is something could walk up right here behind this big tree, and I wouldn't even know it unless I heard it.
Well, you'd know it because I'd be taking off running. Yes, Shirley, I have actually seen two different ones, not up close and personal, but within 150, 200 feet with binoculars. I got to watch one for several minutes. And then the other one we watched for about 15, 20 minutes. And we could see it without binoculars. It was watching us. It was watching us watching him. How far are we from the cabin? 200 yards?
Yeah, we're a good ways from the cabin, guys. It's we're pretty good ways down in here. I had to kind of coax Sheila to come this far, but
well, this is because of the last time. How many of you, if you were here last time, just say, yeah, I was here. And you will know how crazy scary it got. That was, I did not like that at all. No video. Yeah.
Tim, you don't have any video? Hmm.
Andy was here. Can the rest of you see us? There's some more that was here. Yeah, so y'all know what I was talking about. So yeah, Bill had to do some sweet talking to get me to try it again.
Well, you know, we try to do this as
Yes,
safe as we possibly can, and you know, we're always armed. Uh, I would never purposely harm an animal like that unless I felt like that myself or Sheila was threatened, lives were threatened, and then I would do what I would need to do to keep us safe. But
I
I
think
feel
what scared me about it is, I mean, they may have just been curious because here we are. It's like we're having a conversation with you guys, but they have no idea what we're doing. They're just seeing us out in the woods with lights, and they don't have a clue or they don't understand go live video. But what made me nervous about it, and it may have just been their curiosity, is the way they were doing the triad. And that's, you've heard and seen many times about prey animals putting their prey in the kill zone. And I'm not saying that's what was happening, but I just didn't want to stick around to find out. Bill didn't feel that way. He didn't think that we were in danger, but it was just, they were just moving in too close for comfort for me.
they were coming in too close, guys, and when we finally decided that we'd had enough and it was time to go, uh, they were probably within 30 yards of us in the edge of the woods, and it was very plain to me that there were multiple. It was at least three, and with the guttural sounds and the what sounded like hand clapping and foot stomping and the rock throwing, they were just telling us that we didn't need to be there, that it was time for us to go. And uh, we've had that happen to us on several occasions.
Oh, sorry.
We've had that happen to us on several occasions, and I think if you heed what they're trying to tell you, then you're going to be all right. Now, if you don't heed it and you start trying to put pressure on them, I think you're maybe taking your life in your own hands. But I think if you listen to them, listen to what they're telling you, then most times you're going to be okay. And again, we've had that happen to us on several occasions where they didn't want us there, and we heeded what they were telling us, and we got out of there. But last live stream, it had got to the point where it was getting a little bit too intense, and quite frankly, I was enjoying it. Sheila was ready to go, but to have them that close to you and have to be able to witness what was going on as far as they're communicating with one another with different sounds and different things they were doing, man, we learned a lot, and that's how you learn.
Yeah, it was very, very interesting. And I think I was already a little bit nervous because I told Bill the day before, so I feel like something's fixing to happen. And that was the day before. And I think I was just a little bit nervous when the whole evening started because I started out with an uneasy feeling. So we haven't had, we've seen that, or we got that one juvenile on video. But in my opinion, I think there are different ones that come through here because there's, holy, did y'all hear that?
Y'all hear that?
I hope
That sounded like a
one.
scream.
My gosh. But I think we've had different groups come through because one, did y'all hear that? One that's here every time I come out does an owl. hoot, but the others are not vocal like that. Yes, I talk to them every time I come out, Diane. I'm talking constantly. No, we haven't had them come to the cabin, up to the cabin at night and knock on doors and windows like Rick has, Rick Wells. But they do throw sticks and rocks at the cabin, usually like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. They'll start doing stuff, but they don't mess with the doors and windows. I think when Bill's inside, they're not as brave as when it's just me there. Because the times that they have come to the house is when he has not been in the cabin except for today. Yeah, are you hearing it like right through here?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I caught just a glimpse of eye shine back there.
No, we haven't seen the juvenile since that. Well, we didn't see him then. We got him on camera. We haven't gotten to lay eyes on
him. Somebody asked earlier about footprints around the cabin. You know, starting in, I guess, about January of last year, we started finding 10 to 12-inch footprints pretty much all over the property, especially down around the creek area. And then when we got that juvenile on camera several months ago, we feel like that juvenile is the one that was making these small 10, 12-inch footprints around different areas all over the property. So for whatever reason, for several months, that juvenile, we named him Junior. Junior seemed to hang around here quite a bit. He'd be here every time we would come down to the property, and he seems to enjoy throwing rocks and hitting the cabin. The night we got him on camera, you might remember I had charcoaled a bunch of chickens on the grill outside, and Sheila and I went inside to eat dinner. And while we were sitting there eating dinner, all of a sudden the back of the cabin just started getting pelted with rocks. So I grabbed the video camera and told Sheila, "Come on, let's go." And then we feel like we got him on camera standing by a tree back 100 yards or so back in the woods, standing there by a tree holding a stick in his hand. And then we heard him run off, also tearing through the brush as he ran off. So
we're saying it's a juvenile. It could be a female. We're just going by the size.
Just going,
yeah, behavior.
By the size. 6.5, maybe 7 foot tall. We did a comparison video.
Surely saw something move behind us.
We did a comparison video, and I'm 6'3", and he was probably in the comparison video probably 6 or 8 inches taller than I am. So again, it may be a female, but we just figured by the size and then the behavior with the rock throwing and that kind of thing that it quite possibly was a juvenile. Carolyn says, do you find that between 3 and 5 a.m. they get together to go wherever they do for the daylight hours? They do where I live in the Wayne National Forest in Ohio. What we found with our live streams and then just being around here from about dark until about 10 o'clock at night, we would have a lot of activity going on. And then around 10 o'clock, the activity would stop, and then it would start up again about 3 in the morning. But from 10 p.m. to about 3 a.m., there wouldn't be anything going on. And then it would start back up around 2 to 3 in the morning with the rock throwing and that kind of thing. And then closer it got to daylight, it shut down. So I don't know if that's their hunting time at night. Uh, don't really know. That's just a lot of the questions that we're trying to get answered out here and trying to understand. Uh, no, Andy, that bell is not behind me. We didn't have time to get that set up. We weren't able to get anything that we could tie the fishing line to, either, some type of watermelon or cantaloupe or something. We were in a rush to get here and just didn't get that done. So uh, we were without out that tonight. So
But I don't think we're gonna need it because I think to put the ears on and step back here and look. I keep hearing movement. I'm not going very far. The cicadias aren't as bad as they have been.
something keeps moving in the back of. Again, this is an old logging road that goes down through there, and both sides of this logging road is just real thick woods. So something that skirts across that logging road, you might see something moving back there. I thought I caught some eye shine back there a while ago.
There's a lot of deer that live through there too. There's been a lot of deer people.
No, I've not heard of that particular person, Penny. Be very interesting to hear that, to see that video. Of course, I've heard Ron Moorhead's video, and then in Kentucky, when we were up there with Rick Wells on his farm up there, we heard what Rick called bush talk uh, that night when they were communicating with each other. You could tell it was a language, but you just could not understand it. It just sounded like gibberish. Uh, but we have heard that. Cryptid, again, we don't think that there is a clan that lives on this property, but we think they come through here pretty frequently. We think they use this area for hunting. There's a tremendous amount of deer, tremendous amount of wild hogs, a lot of water on this property. So we think that they utilize this area for hunting, but we don't think there is a clan that lives here. Um, we have a tendency to think that when they're on property, there are three individuals. And the reason we think that is because of the last live stream we had, and we found three different sizes of footprints on the property. And so we feel like that there are three individuals that come through here. Now, is it a family group? Uh, I kind of tend to think maybe it is because of the juvenile that's been hanging around here. So quite possibly it might be a family group that's utilizing this property for hunting purposes. Uh, but we just don't feel like that they live on this property. We haven't seen any evidence of that as far as them just taking up residence here. Now we found several structures on the property, and I've got several videos out there on the channel of some of the structures that we found here on the property. Um, but we don't think that there's a clan that lives here. Have we found carcasses? Um, we found a lot of bones, a lot of deer bones. Uh,
Can you hear something? There's some-
Sheila's hearing something on the parabolic. She's got the parabolic mic on, hearing something out there.
Yeah, there's definitely some movement out there. Do you listen?
Yeah, just a second. Maggie, they do seem to act out more when we're on the live streams, but you know, I just wonder what goes through their mind and when they see these lights and everything that we've got set up and going on out here in the woods. They do seem to, if they're here, they do seem to act up more. And you know, is it just out of curiosity about what's going on? Is it they just don't like it? Uh, I, I don't really know, but they do seem to get more. Um, I guess you'd call it agitated when we set up these lights and cameras and everything that's going on here when we're doing a live stream.
Well, you got to consider too. We don't live here. We haven't been here in 4 weeks, and all of a sudden we show up with lights, camera, and action. So yeah, if they're here, they're going to get curious. Here,
Um, Tim, did you get your issues worked out? Are you seeing everything now? Okay. And by the way, you still have the wrench. So Tim is our moderator. Uh, so uh, you know we want to keep everything civil, and uh, we're not here to talk politics. We're here to talk Bigfoot. So we'll try to keep it to that. Well, Patrick's on the road again tonight. He's 30 miles east of Abilene.
put your ears on.
Tim, I don't think anybody else is having any video issues. Um,
Listen. Okay, Scott, thanks for dropping in. Do we sell the t-shirts? Can y'all see this one? It says respect the squash.
turn and show in the back.
We don't have any more of these. This is an old t-shirt. I can't get turned around.
Get down a little bit. There you go.
This is an old t-shirt. We don't even have any more of these. No, we haven't gotten set up to sell t-shirts. Did you hear?
Yeah, I hear something. There's something moving around out there. I don't know what it is. It's a deer or what, but there's something back there moving around. I swear I caught some.
There's a lot of those lightning bugs too, so don't let them fool you. Yeah, I always forget to check up in the trees. How late are we staying?
How late do you want us to stay?
Usually we do it till about 10 o'clock. Can we do a tree knot? Do you have your knocker out here?
I've got one. I'll do one in a minute, John.
We didn't.
Scott, uh, we hadn't worked on that yet, but I'm amazed at how far we are from the cabin and still getting a Wi-Fi signal.
And I really don't want to go any deeper into the woods, to be quite honest. I mean, we're completely surrounded right now, and I really don't want to go any deeper.
I would love to be able to set up down on the creek down there. Of course, that's half a mile from here, but set up on that creek down there and be able to do a live stream back there. And I haven't looked at um, I haven't looked at maybe doing it with my phone. I don't know what kind of a signal I would get way down there. This place, guys, is in the middle of nowhere, and uh, phone signal, even around the cabin, it's bad at best. We just don't get any phone coverage, and we have to use the Wi-Fi, make a phone call and all of that. But I'm amazed at how far we are from the router and still getting a good solid signal here.
And if he goes down on the creek, unless he calls in some backup, he'll be doing it by himself. I'm not going down there. That's too scary.
Andy, that's a great question. This particular area here in southeastern Oklahoma is nothing but woods. It's just as far as you want to go, and in any direction, it's woods. The Ouachita National Forest is 2.8 million acres of national forest, and there's a 10,000 acre wildlife refuge that's very close to our property. They could bed down or have some type of a permanent area where they stay in any of those areas. There are places in Ouachita where I don't even know when the last time a person was there. It may have been some of the Indian tribes or explorers. There's places there. You can imagine 2.8 million acres, what a large piece of property that is. And, we purposely picked this particular section of land to purchase because of the close proximity to those areas I talked about. And in any direct,
I hate it when he does that.
I thought I saw something move. In any direction you want to go from where we're sitting right now is miles and miles and miles of woods.
I thought you saw something move on the camera in there.
Yeah, behind me there. So, do they bed down in the same place night after night? Do they just roam around and when they get tired, that's where they lay down? We don't know. That's some of the questions that we're wanting to try to get answered. We just don't really know. That's what really kind of aggravates me when somebody gets in front of a camera and says, "I am a Bigfoot expert." There are no Bigfoot experts. I don't care how long you've been doing this. Uh, there's not an expert in this field. Now there may be some experts in the field of footprints, Dr. Jeff Meldrum and those type people. But as far as knowing everything there is to know about Bigfoot, about Sasquatch, there are no experts, guys. I think y'all know that. I think everybody knows that. But we got some people that will get up in front of the camera and say, "I am an expert on Bigfoot." That's just not the case. I think we all know that.
Movement over his left ear. That's where you saw
That's
it.
where I saw it a while ago, right in here.
And that's where I've been hearing something.
Y'all keep your questions coming, guys. Those are great questions.
We haven't gotten to get out and just do hiking in the woods. It's just 107 degrees here. You just can't do it.
It's really been hot. I don't know where everybody's at, but different parts of the world, even on here, but southeastern Oklahoma and northern Texas, guys, it is, you just can't get out during the middle of the day. It's just impossible. Um, Jim, the vegetation in this area right now, there's uh, obviously quite a lot of green vegetation right now. Um, I've noticed since we were here last time and then we came up yesterday, everything is kind of getting baked out a little bit and kind of turning brown a little, just simply because we haven't had any rain here. Uh, but there's still plenty of green vegetation. Um, there's plenty for them to eat here. Uh, there's a lot of berries, that kind of thing. There's a lot of wild fruit. And somebody asked earlier if we found any carcasses. We found a lot of bones, uh, deer bones. We even found one carcass that was a black bear carcass, and then the skull trees that I've talked about and shown on video, where we found two different locations on the property where their skulls been placed up in trees, but there's just a tremendous amount of food for them here. Not only vegetation, but a lot of deer, a lot of hogs, a lot of small mammals, and that kind of thing. So, uh, what we feel like, or what I feel like, my personal opinion, their diet, there's plenty for them to eat here. So they're not hurting for food.
Hang on. Somebody said you're having trouble with mosquitoes. I promise you, if you get one of these, it's a Thermacell. You can get them at Walmart. You will not be bothered with mosquitoes. It keeps the mosquitoes away. They have several different tools like this, but the Thermacell brand, mosquitoes are not bothering me at all right now. And somebody asked, had we ever played music for them? I wanted to play some of this Native American flutes and just see what happens.
Somebody asked, do we see more activity in the summer or the winter? You know, that's a great question. I've thought a lot about that, and we research year round, guys. We research summer, winter, fall, year round. We've not seen a particular time of year where activity falls off. Like you would think, I personally would think that in the summertime when it's 105 degrees and you're a 400-pound, 500-pound animal walking around with a fur coat on, that you probably want to limit your activity. We just haven't seen that. We see as much activity in the hot summertime as we do in the fall or the winter. Just hadn't seen that. But that's a great question.
Drew, what's been my most scary experience? I think last time we did this live stream, it rated pretty high. I think just because I felt vulnerable when we were with Rick in Kentucky and we had them all around us. There was a lot of people there, but it was just Bill and I. Can y'all hear I've got the flutes playing now. But yeah, I think I didn't like being surrounded by them when it was just Bill and I.
Somebody asked, do they shed? Uh,
Don't play rap or heavy metal.
my personal opinion is I think they do, because the reason I say that is um, we've caught one on video over in Robert's research area that didn't have a lot of. It was in the summertime, about this time of year, and it did not have a lot of hair on it. What hair it had on it, it looked like really fine hair. It wasn't that thick, heavy coat that you think about. Uh, uh, if y'all want to see that one, it's on the channel out there. The name of the video is Squatch in the Brush. And that particular one, it just looked like it didn't have a lot of hair on it. So I kind of tend to think that during the hot summer months, they may shed some of that longer hair that they might have during the wintertime. So great question. Drew asked, well, you mentioned it. What was our scariest experience? Um, I think mine was we were on a night expedition uh, with Udale down in Roberts Research area about 2 o'clock in the morning, and we'd been out there for 3 or 4 hours following an old creek, and it was a moonlit night where you could see to walk without using the flashlight. And none of us was using the flashlight at the time, and we were following that creek along, and all of a sudden, a rock about the size of a softball come flying by my right ear, landed on the ground, bounced about 3 times, and then rolled down into that creek. Of course, I spun around immediately and hit the button on my light. And when I did, there was about a 7.5 foot Sasquatch standing behind us about 40 yards with just the eye shine was just very bright. But it had thrown a rock and buzzed right by my ear. If that thing would hit me in the head, it would probably kill me. But uh, if it would have wanted to hit me, I think it could have. But I think it was telling us that y'all need to leave. You've been here long enough. You need to get out of this area and you need to leave. So we did. We got out of there, and walking out, you could plainly hear bipedal footsteps behind us and to the left of us, one paralleling us, and they followed us almost back to camp. And but that night, when that rock come flying by my head, that was that was pretty intimidating. And I've talked about that one on several different times. But that was a pretty harrowing night. And the night we were up close to Falk, Arkansas, in the middle of the night, it was just Sheila and I, and they started growling at us, and they pushed a tree over about 10 inches in diameter, about 100 foot from us. That night was pretty harrowing also, and we heeded what they wanted us to do. We got out of there.
Yes, I do have dogs. Somebody asked that earlier. I have two little Bijans. They'll be a year old tomorrow, and I'm pretty protective of them. I've got the music playing. I don't know if y'all can hear it. I tried to turn it down. There's something. Can you hear that? We probably will go back to Roberts area in September. Like we said, it's just so hot. You can't do it. 5 minutes and you're wringing wet and chugging the Gatorade, and it's just too much. I didn't hear the hoot.
I didn't hear that. What we're hearing, guys, is we're movement out here in this brush. It could be an armadillo, it could be a raccoon, I don't know, but something's moving around in the brush back here. If a rock comes flying over here like it did last time we did a live stream, we'll know what it was.
This is actually Native American flutes, which I hope speaks peace and not war too.
Um, how many acres in size is Robert's area?
About 10,000 square acres.
Well, Robert, uh, he did his research in the Ouachita National Forest. It's 2.8 million acres. Now, he had his travel trailer set up on a friend of ours' property that joined the Ouachita on the backside. It joined the Ouachita National Forest. And there was, I think it was 80 acres where he had his travel trailer. But 99.9% of all the research that we've done has actually been in the Ouachita National Forest, which is 2.8 million acres. And when we go over there and do research, we don't walk down the
A big bug.
we don't walk down the roads.
Good grief.
We don't get on the roads and walk up and down the roads. We get off trail, and we may hike 4 or 5 miles, maybe even sometimes even further, back in the forest. And Robert had been there long enough and done enough research there. Robert knew pretty much where they traveled, where they stayed, where they moved, when they moved, that kind of thing. So we were able to isolate in that 2.8 million acres. We were able to isolate some areas that were fairly small, maybe 400 or 500 acres, where we knew that they pretty much stayed year round. One of the acres Robert called um, the swamp. We've done a lot of research down in that area. Another uh, area is where Robert called the 11-footer area. That's where Robert got the 11-footer on video. Uh, the cane fields is another area down there that we have done a lot of research in, but Robert was able to kind of pinpoint those areas where he knew that they stayed in those areas a lot. They moved where they moved to, when they moved, the trails that they used, and that kind of thing. So even though his area is 2.8 million acres, he was able to isolate those particular areas where uh, they pretty much stayed all the time. So, but we may have to hike 4 or 5 miles back in the forest to get to those areas. But a very large area down there.
And somebody asked, is 11-footer area close to us? And it's not. It's over in the Ouachita National Forest, which is probably about, what, 45, 50 miles?
Something like that. But it's not real close to us. It's close enough we can drive and research and come back to our cabin and that kind of thing. Usually when we go over there, we usually go to stay. We'll stay 4 or 5 days, or Scott Hunley will fly down from Florida, and we'll meet with you, Dale, and spend 3 or 4 or 5 days down there doing research and trying our best to get good video for you guys.
Yes, we do use thermals. We have thermals. We have used them. We have seen something on thermals. That's the thing about thermals. You really don't know what for sure you're seeing, but yeah, we have used those.
Hey, Diane, glad you could make it. You're not really that late. There hadn't been a tremendous amount going on tonight. We're getting a little movement in the brush, and we've heard a couple of one that sounded like a scream, the other sounded like a howl off in the distance.
Shirley, if you want to hear the whole story, go to Bigfoot Odyssey episode, is it 8?
Episode 8.
Yeah, we did. Whoa.
Oh, Lordy.
What
Lordy.
was it? Did you see it?
Yeah, I saw it.
What?
We just got attacked. It was was a possum. It was a big old possum, just came running almost right between my legs. Oh, Lordy. Mm.
Do you need to go change pants?
I was about to pull my weapon. What just happened, guys? We just heard something come tearing through the brush right at us, and it was a big, huge possum, and it almost ran right between my legs, right on down through there. Whew, I got the old heart pumping.
But anyway, if you go to Carrie Arnold's channel, Bigfoot Odyssey, I think there's about a 2-hour interview that Carrie and Linda did with us that kind of tells our beginning to where we are now, because it's kind of a long story, but very, very interesting. Thanks to Carrie and Linda. They do a great job, and check out their channel, Bigfoot Odyssey. What episode did you say it is? 8? Is it episode 8?
I think it's episode 8.
Yeah. So check that out when you have time. Yeah, it scared me too, Diane. When he gets up and takes off running, I get a little bit nervous because he's got the gun. Maybe the possum like the native
Man, I don't know
blades.
why it just came tearing through here like something's chasing it.
Shut up.
Yeah, all I heard was something tearing through the brush, just running right at us.
We go tap and almost knocked the laptop over.
Sorry about that, guys. Possums like music. Thing acted like something was chasing it. For it to run right at us like that.
Unusual.
I think so, Carolyn, because that thing was just tearing through here. I heard it coming, tearing through the brush over there, and when it got to where we are, it didn't stop. It just kept coming. Huh. Yeah, Diane, we really enjoyed that. Carrie and Linda's just great people. They're great for the Bigfoot community and what they're doing with the work that they're doing, and we really enjoyed spending time with them, doing that documentary with them, and the way Carrie set all that up, it was, for you guys, I guess, was very informative about what got us started and how we initially got started, and over the years how it's developed and moved forward, and some of the work we've done with the BFRO and the places that we've been doing research. And I think it was very informative. We really enjoyed doing it.
If you do watch that video, at the very end, Carrie did a drone view of the property, and if you see that, you'll see what we mean when we keep telling you we're surrounded by woods. So just about anywhere we go, there's woods all around us. So it's why we have so much wildlife and what attracts the Bigfoot here. Yeah, I hope they like that music, and I hope it's saying peaceful messages.
Guys, fixing, I was fixing to pull the sidearm on that one. That one got me going.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks for taking care of that.
Yeah, Tim, you're doing a great job being our moderator, and we want to keep this as civil as we possibly can, and this is not a political channel, and we're here to talk Bigfoot and try to answer as many questions as we can, and maybe some of the information we can pass along will help you guys and maybe get some of you started in Bigfoot research. We need some good, solid researchers out there. We need people that's devoted to it and that'll spend the time and the effort and get out there and and try to learn as much as we possibly can. And
Just historically, this is about the time we usually start getting activity, don't you think?
yeah,
I think they start, they know we're here and they're kind of moving around and they start getting curious. And that's why I'm looking over my shoulder a lot. I'm getting that creepy feeling.
Jim asked what type of Bigfoot are in this area. That's a great question. Um, I can I can tell you from our experience, from what we've seen in the research we've been involved with, uh, we feel like that there are three different types. Um, one is the typical patty type that everybody thinks about whenever they think about a Bigfoot. The 7 to 8.5 foot tall, 400 to 600 pounds, covered in hair, the cone head, uh, the heavy brow ridge. Uh, that's the type that everybody thinks about when you think about Bigfoot. The other type that we've seen is a smaller version, maybe 6.5 to 7.5 foot tall, a thinner version, uh, more human looking in the face, and a lot less hair. Not near the amount of hair that you think about when you think about a Bigfoot. The third type uh, we've not seen, but uh, Robert talked about them a lot, and he got them on video a couple of times. Is a smaller version that almost looks like an orangutan. Uh, the snout-looking nose, the canine teeth, what a lot of people I think call dog man. The one Robert had got on video was probably 5 foot tall, maybe 5.5 foot tall, maybe 200 pounds. Uh, Quite a bit of hair, but that long uh, baboon looking face and nose or snout with the long canine teeth. That's the three that I feel like that are in southeastern Oklahoma. Two of the types we've witnessed, we've seen them. Uh, the third one we've not seen them other than just on video with Robert, but Robert saw them on several occasions. So that's the three type that we feel like that we have here in southeastern Oklahoma. Diane, that scared us too. It did me. I didn't know what that was. I just knew something was tearing through the brush and it was running straight at us. Uh, I had no idea what that was.
Well, your job was to protect me. You seem to be running.
No, I didn't run. I was getting up where I could get my hand on something to protect us. But we appreciate Diane. We work hard for you guys, and we want you guys to feel like y'all are right here with us. That's the reason we like to do these live streams out here in the pitch black woods at night, is to try to elicit some activity so you guys will be here with us. And uh, you know something were to happen, I got video cameras here and I'm ready to record and get that out there on the channel for you guys.
Y'all keep a watch over our shoulders. That's where I keep hearing noise.
Thanks, Andy. Um, Yes, we have been in that area of Texas. We've researched quite a bit in East Texas, Southeast Texas, Sam Houston National Forest. We spent quite a bit of time down there at Sam Houston National Forest a couple of years ago. Drew, I don't know if Drew's still on here or not, but he went on an expedition down there with us, and we had a lot going on down there.
What do we think about them living underground?
Um,
I think when it's available, that's very possible.
sure, Sandy, I think when it's available to them, the hot summertime like it is now, if they can find a cave or an old mine shaft or something that they can get in, that it's going to be cooler. Uh, Over in Robert's research area, there's a lot of caves and limestone cliffs over in that area, and we spend a lot of time over there in the summertime around those caves. Uh, trying to find out, are they utilizing these caves? Is it a permanent uh, place for them to stay, especially when it's this hot? So I think if it's available to them, I would think, yeah, that they would utilize them as much as they can. Uh, a lot of those larger creeks down there, where those limestone cliffs and those caves are, those big creeks run year round, and the water, for whatever reason, is ice cold. So I think they stay around over in there and maybe get in that water when it's 105 degrees. That's just what I would do if I were one. What made us believers and how long ago? Jim, that's another good question. I'll tell you, quite frankly, when we started this research, we were both skeptics. I think you have to be a little bit of a skeptic to be a good researcher. Every sound you hear in the woods is not a Sasquatch, and every stump you see out there in the woods is not a Sasquatch. So you have to be somewhat of a skeptic. But I think what really convinced us was when we started researching with Robert Dodson, and he showed us some of the things that he showed us. And then the two visual sightings that we had down there with Robert. I mean, if you're a skeptic and you're looking face to face with a 8 foot, 500 pound, hair covered bipedal animal, how can you be a skeptic after that? After you have physically stood there and looked at them, and them looking back at you, and then them turn around and walk off. But
hang on a second. Rob from Montana asked, "Are we truly live?" Yes, we are truly live. This is not pre-recorded. What you see is happening right now.
Yep, we are live, absolutely live. We have a
The cicadas are picking up. Sometimes that's stuff is going on. Yes, we do have a gifting area, Jim. We've had a lot of activity going on at that area.
Joe asked Sam Houston National Forest, how was the critters down there? Joe, we did a lot of research online before we went to the Sam Houston National Forest, and everything that we found out about that particular area was that Sasquatch was particularly aggressive in that area. There's been reports online about dismembered bodies, 3 campers that were camped in the Sam Houston National Forest, and a lot of tales or a lot of information online about how aggressive they are at Sam Houston National Forest. So we took that under advisement when we went down there the first time, and I think we stayed 4 or 5 days, and uh, we made sure that we were as safe as we could possibly be. But they are supposed to be particularly aggressive in that area down there. Yes, Stacy, that's right. They supposedly killed people there at Sam Houston in the Sam Houston National Forest.
Every species of bug in Texas, Martin.
Florida cryptid. If you're speaking to us, we don't accept any donations. We're not in this for money. Uh, you know, God has blessed Sheila and I just beyond our wildest imaginations and given us the means to do this. And we're just not in it for the money. We're in it we love what we do. We love to gather information and to be able to present it to people like our subscribers and share that information with them. So, we certainly appreciate anybody that wants to donate to the channel and that kind of thing. But we just don't. We're just not there. That's not what we're in it for. It's not what we're trying to do. But we certainly appreciate the thought. It is expensive to be able to share it with everyone.
Carolyn, where are you at? Knox are a good way to get responses, Melissa. I don't know about using here. They use mimicking an owl, and I get responses when I do an owl call. I'll usually get a response. I think they can.
Hi, Jamie.
I think they can differentiate when it's not a squatch whooping, just like we can tell it is. They can tell it's not. So I don't know. I don't think those are as successful most of the time. Y'all Bill may disagree.
Well, thank you, Florida Cryptid. We appreciate that. And, we really do.
We said it's freezing up. It kind of did I think it kind of did a catch up, so maybe it's okay now.
Yeah, I think we're really stretching the Wi-Fi signal, guys. But I wanted to get back as far as I could anyway. Hey, D, Lady in the Woods made it.
Anytime those cicadas pick up, it means something's excited them. Fixing the storm. We'll send it our way. We could use it. Okay, Tim, thank you. Appreciate your help.
Who's going?
Tim, he's got to go.
Tim, we appreciate you so much. Bud, you're doing a great job. We really appreciate it. I'm going to try to get you some help.
Maybe the music put them to sleep.
Jim, that is another good question. And, it seems to me that when we know they're on property here, we don't see near as many deer or near as many animals at all. So I think it definitely has an effect on the local deer population or hog population when they're on property. I think the the deer go somewhere else. I really think that.
Yeah, I think you're right. Who said it? June. That I've gotten response to a whistle many times. When we're walking through the woods, I do whistle, and we do get response to that. I think the whoops are just kind of very specific, and it's hard for us to have the lung capacity to make the same sound that they do. Odyssey. I think it's Odessessey. Let me see if I can Google it. Oops.
I'm going to have to get a second moderator. Tim has just done a phenomenal job. Tim has to leave about this time every night. Tim is the caregiver for his parents, elderly parents. I think he told me one was 90 and the other was 94. So he has to leave about this time every night to take care of them. So if I had a second moderator, it sure would help. So somebody's interested in maybe that position, if you'll let me know. It doesn't pay very well. In fact, it doesn't pay anything.
Okay, Bigfoot Odyssey. It's Odyssey. That's Odyssey. I turned the music off. Maybe we're putting them to sleep. Andy said he'll apply for the wrench position.
The wrench position, guys, is the moderator that moderates the chat, and I know y'all know what it is, but I'll just talk about it a little bit. And if there are any comments that are out of the realm of what we're talking about, if it starts to get political or somebody starts using bad language, that kind of thing, then that moderator has the power to remove that individual from the channel. Also has the ability to turn off their chat and several different things. But
you were going to talk about, and maybe you did already. We have lots of folks that suggest that we get DNA testing on some of that stuff that we picked up. Did you already talk about that?
I hadn't talked about it yet, but I will. We've had a lot of things happen down at the Gifton area, and where we know or we feel fairly secure that we've got some DNA on some of the water bottles, the Nerf football that was chewed on, several different instances where we feel like we possibly got some DNA. And a lot of people have asked me, why don't you get that tested? Why don't you get it tested? Well, I did a little research and found out that depending on what tests you run, there's several nuclear DNA and bicardial DNA. There's several tests that can be run, but it averages from about $5,000 to $8,000 a test. Pretty expensive. So that's the reason that we really just hadn't made the decision to have anything tested for DNA. Now, I save everything. I keep everything. I bag it up, save it. And, if some point in time DNA testing becomes a little bit more affordable, then yes, we'd be glad to or want to get that done. Or if somebody comes forward and says, "Hey, send me your stuff, I'll get it tested," then absolutely we would certainly do that. But it's an expense thing, guys. You could spend $16,000, $32,000 fairly easily getting testing done, and we're just not to that point yet. But that's the reason why that we haven't gotten anything tested. It's just that gum too expensive. So
Yeah, there's several folks in here that have volunteered to be moderators. Andy, Stacy, Diane, we appreciate that. We'll get you plugged in for moderators before our next show.
is Stacy Hearn on here?
Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't see her come in.
She is there. There she is right there. Scott Hearn, Scott, our Scott about getting
Scott Hundley.
your DNA test too. Okay, we'll ask him about it. He's usually on here. I haven't seen him. I think he just got married, so he may be busy.
Melissa, it was Bigfoot Odyssey, the Squatch Team, episode 8. It's out there on his channel, Bigfoot Odyssey channel. It's episode 8. It was done in February of this year. Carrie and Linda came down to our property here in southeastern Oklahoma and spent a couple of days with us, and we really enjoyed it doing that documentary with them. And I think it's fairly interesting. So, go out there on their channel and take a look at that. It outlines our odyssey from the very start up to present day on what we've done and where we've been. He presents a lot of the evidence that we have and shows a lot of the videos and the pictures. He shows the video of the 3 Sasquatch that we filmed down in southeastern Oklahoma. The one that leans out from behind the tree and shows its teeth, and he just shows a lot of the evidence that we have.
Some Leonard Skinner. You know what y'all need to all chime in to tell Bill is for him to set up his guitar and play out here. He's got some music he could play. He could do Leonard Skinner with no problem. He needs to set up here in the woods and hold a concert for the Bigfoot. Being pretty quiet tonight, though.
Yeah, other than those of you that missed it a while ago when we got charged by the possum, those of you that weren't here, we were just sitting here, and all of a sudden something comes tearing through the brush at us, and it was a big, huge possum, and it come tearing out of the brush and almost ran right between my legs and down through there. About scared us both to death.
Scott's in Maine this weekend researching. Yeah, because it's cooler up there.
Okay, John, I'm going to do a tree knock for you right now.
What if one knocks back 5 foot away from you?
What was chasing it? D, that's what I'd like to know. I'd like to know what was chasing it. It come tearing out of the brush, and it didn't sound like a possum. It sounded like a big cow or something tearing through the brush. You know what I thought it was, but me and Sheila both jumped to her feet.
I could hear it. I just couldn't see what was going on.
Have we found any kills in the area that were strange? Jim, I guess the strangest thing that we found was a black bear carcass. What kills a black bear other than maybe another black bear, but and then takes its skull and hangs it up in a tree.
Here we go.
Oh, Sheila's fixing to do a wood knot.
Is this what you got this for?
Good hard. 2 wood knocks done. Andy, she did 2 wood knocks. I hear a dog barking way off in the distance. That's right, Jay. They pretty much eat whatever they want. Yep. Florida cryptid, it's just a dadgum expensive, and then most labs that are capable of doing DNA testing, uh, it's hard to get them to, you call them and talk to them, and you say, I got some hair that I want to do a DNA test on. I think it might be a Bigfoot. Well,
You hear a click.
yeah, they really don't want to mess with that.
Yeah, the frog's sick with it.
Got kind of quiet when she did that wood knock. Who was the other?
Moderator.
Yeah. She's on here every time. Diane, are you still on here?
Her and Stacy and Rob. No, Andy also they were. And Lady in the Woods.
Jamie, yes, we've had activity here today and yesterday. We got here around noon yesterday, and we had some activity, especially down at the Gifton area, and then also up at the cabin on the old steps that we used when our travel trailer was there. They keep placing objects on that, and then the rock throwing or the stick throwing and hitting the cabin has been going on pretty much all day.
I don't know why they're being so quiet tonight.
I guess Diane's not still on here.
I think maybe the native flutes put them to sleep.
Oh, what happened there? Message here for renewal.
Can I say hello to them? I say hello to them in English, and Rick has taught me some Indian terms. And yes, when I'm outside with, I'm talking to them all the time. When I'm putting stuff down at the gifting area, I hold it up and talk about what it is. So yes, I do say hello and talk to them all the time.
Jim, the only season that slows our research down is this time of year when it's 105 to 107 degrees. Now we still get out early in the morning. We were out at daylight this morning, but we still can do research very early and then very late. And then sometimes we'll do a night excursion during the hot summertime. But the spring, the fall, even in the winter, that's my favorite times of the year to get out and do research, especially the spring. But we research when there's a foot of snow on the ground and uh, zero temperatures. We research when it's 105 degrees. But this time of the year kind of slows us down a little bit. Uh, but other than that, we try to do as much as we can whenever we can.
Watching that.
I don't know.
I think they are more active when it's cooler weather. In the wintertime, they seem to have more activity. Remember, I had a rock thrown at me while I was sitting in my hunting blind last winter.
We do notice those woo sounds, Melissa. We've heard those a lot. The whoops or the woo, or we've heard those a lot. I think they use those as a communication to, saying instead of doing a wood knock, they may do a whoop and say, "Hey, I'm over here. Where are you?" Yeah, Brian, I was hearing something out to my left over here. Something moving in the brush. I'm still hearing it. Oh, Tim's back. Is Diane Fowler still on here? There she is. Diane, would you accept the position of moderator and be able to help Tim out whenever he's not here? I know that you're on all of our live streams, and if you would accept that position, I would certainly love to make you a moderator, and that way you and Tim can kind of help each other out, and there's not all that responsibility on just Tim. I think so too, Brian. Great choice, but she hadn't answered me yet, so I don't know if she wants to take that or not.
She said she would.
She hadn't answered me back yet. Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to give Diane a wrench. Okay, Diane, you are now a moderator for the Squatch team. We really appreciate you doing this, and that way, if Tim has to leave, and that way we'll have two moderators, and all the pressure won't be just on one. I really appreciate it a lot.
See, this is why I think it's not the same group every time, because we had never experienced three at one time like we did the last time we did a live. And now, I mean, I don't know that that's what it is, but there's definitely something moving out there. So that's why I think it's something different every time. That may be the possum moving down there. Who knows?
It's something.
But there's definitely something moving back
There's
there.
something moving back here.
But it's only one. And the last time it was three big somethings.
There seemed to be a little quiet tonight, guys, other than the possum attack, and we did hear a howl earlier tonight and a scream that was way off. D, last live stream we did, we had them within probably 30 yards of us. We had three within 30 yards of us. They were communicating back and forth between the three. They were stomping their feet. They were hand clapping. They were whistling, and they were doing that low guttural, almost a grunt, I'd call it. It wasn't a growl, just a low guttural grunt. Uh, and throwing rocks. So we had three within about 30 yards of us when Sheila about took all she could take, and we gave it up and let them have it.
I think, and all we can do is just give it our best guess. I think the one that was throwing rocks was to draw our attention away from the other two that were getting in position. And that's what was making me so nervous. Their sophistication in their communication. Because he was throwing rocks to the left of us, and we'd be hearing those rocks, and at the same time, we'd hear movement and stomping over to the right. So I think they were trying to get in position, and he was trying to distract us. And that's just, certainly don't have any proof of that, but that's sure what it felt like.
Andy, thank you for stopping in. You're one of our folks that are here with us every time we do a live stream, and we appreciate you a lot. Thanks for stopping in. D, we didn't notice any smells.
Yeah, we did last time. Remember the last
Oh,
time?
yeah, we did.
Had,
we did.
Right over there in that area, we smelled.
We kept smelling that smell. Now, the last live stream we did when they were 30 yards and hand clapping and foot stomping and throwing rocks, there wasn't a foul odor in the air that night.
I figured if there's going to be a foul odor, it'd be now. Maybe we should put some deodorant down at the gifting area. You know, they got to stink.
Maybe so.
We laughed. Bill and I laughed a couple of times about how funny it would have been if we could have gotten that on video. A Bigfoot sitting there drinking out of a bottle of water and eating an apple. That would have made for some good PR for some water company.
10 by 5X. It's kind of hard to describe that odor. And people have described it before as a wet dog that's urine, feces, rolled in urine and feces and rotted meat. It's hard to describe. It's not a skunky smell. It's a rotted meat, urine, feces, wet dog, all rolled into one, if you can imagine that.
I don't disagree with you, Justin, that sometimes I think they can control it like a gland odor. But I think it's sometimes just because they stink. It's hot and they're stinky and been in, swampy water, and they just stink. No, the bells aren't set up tonight. We didn't get that done.
No, Jamie, we were kind of rushed a little today in the night, and we didn't get the bell set up. Next live stream, I will definitely have that set up, though. That's an old trick we learned from Robert Dotson. Yeah, Brian, they're just plain nasty. It make you sick at your stomach. John, thanks for stopping in. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm glad we were live too, Diane. I haven't gone back and watched it. I know I cleared out of there. I had, like Bill said, I had gotten as close as I wanted to, and I cleared out of there. But that was pretty bizarre that night. I'm glad y'all were able to be there with us. Not that you could have jumped in and done anything, but I'm glad y'all got to enjoy that. I don't think we're going to do live tomorrow night, Justin. I think we got to get back to Texas. We tend to be here more in the fall and winter months, but like Bill said, in Texas, you just can't bear the heat to get out and do much. Scared you that night, Brian?
You ought to have been with us, Brian. That was a crazy night.
Were you on my side to get out of there, or did you think we should have stuck it out and see what happened? I almost wish that we had stuck it out, but I was just getting too nervous.
Oh, Shirley, we appreciate you, and that's what we're here for, is to share this with you guys, and we want y'all to feel like you're right here with us, and some nights when we do these live streams, like last time we did it, it's just crazy what's going on, and then other nights, like tonight, it's been really quiet. So you never know. We've had activity yesterday, and we had activity today around the cabin, but it's just quiet here tonight. Now, that's not to say that they may be out there 50 yards watching us, but they just haven't been as active tonight for some reason.
It's like they want us. One group of them want us to know they're here, not in a scary kind of way, but just like leaving that little scroll on the steps. It was just like, yeah, we know you're there. But I don't know if you said that. I had put out there a bottle of water.
Thanks, Shirley. We appreciate that. And thanks, Florida Cryptid. Any information we can pass along to you guys that'll help y'all, man, that's what we're here for.
But I had put a bottle of water out there, and what else did I? Oh, I just put some walnut and just some other little things of nature. But like I've done a couple times, I drew on a paper plate a man, a woman, and two little dogs, and put it there on the steps. And that's where they came and put that little scroll. So it's just like, yeah, okay, we see you're here, and we're here too, and that was about it.
Yeah, Ronnie, I think we made the right decision by giving it up when we did. They were getting really close, and you could tell they didn't want us out there. So when it gets to that point, it's time to go. And they just kept getting closer. That's what really had Sheila upset, is they just kept getting closer and closer. And whenever we finally went in, that last little episode with the growl and the stomping the feet, 20 yards from us, that was time to go.
It's quiet tonight.
Who's to say though we shut this down and go in the camp or go in the cabin and get ready for bed, and then we start getting pounded with rocks, and who knows? You just never know. That's what makes it so interesting. You never know.
Yeah, Tim, I knew it was a right choice for me. You know, people that you talk to, like Terry and others that have had a up close encounter, it's life changing, and I just don't think I'm ready for that up close sightseeing yet.
Yeah, Shirley, I think so too. I think they move around a lot here in southeastern Oklahoma, in this particular area here. I think there's just so much there's so much woods and so much area for them to move around in. I just think they move around a tremendous amount. Probably a half a mile from here in this direction, there's a big lake, and
They've got through there. Not a possum. These woods are so thick you can't go up pipes and you can put them.
uh, where was it? Oh, about a quarter, half a mile from here in this direction, there's a big lake, and I think they stay around over, especially this time of year. I think they stay around that lake over there. There's fish and crawfish and frogs and plenty for them to eat. And I think uh, I think that they come over in this area when they want to hunt deer and hogs, or if they want to do that, then that's when they position themselves on our property, and they may stay here for a week or who knows how long, and then they move again. They're back to some other area. So uh, yeah, surely we found lot of structures on this property, and if you go out on our channel, there's several videos where we've shown those structures, and but there's quite a few of them in this area. When you see them, there's no reason for them to be there. Something had to put them there and build that like that. It just didn't occur naturally. Something had to do it, and it just doesn't make any sense that it could occur like that naturally. We think they use them for hunting blinds. I don't think they're a structure they use to get in out of the weather or anything like that. I think they use them for hunting blinds. Cow Creek Cryptid, I think the reason they were doing that on the last live stream is that they didn't want us out there. They just absolutely did not want us there. They wanted us to leave, and they were doing everything, I guess, in their power other than just attacking to get us out of there. Uh, with the everything that was they were doing to me indicated they wanted us to leave. And when we didn't leave initially, they kept getting closer and closer and closer. And finally, that last little episode of the growls and the foot stomping 20 yards from us in that thick brush, that was enough for us to say, okay, we're going to leave. And when we left, things quieted down. So um, my thoughts were they just did not want us out here. I think we were interrupting their hunts, or we had lights and we had cameras and microphones and stuff going on, and they just absolutely didn't want us here. And they were telling us, we don't want you there. We want you to leave.
Well, you could be right. And, like we said, all we can do is give it our best
John, we
estimate.
appreciate that. Appreciate it a lot. Appreciate you stopping in.
I think they were extremely curious about what was going on. And I don't know if they were trying to get in closer to see what we were doing. We'll never know, but that's what I think they were doing. I think they were just trying to get in closer and closer to see what was going on.
Jim, I think it depends on the clan, how many are in the clan, how often they have to hunt. I think it's pretty regularly though. We find a lot of bones, uh, deer bones, where they've had a kill or something's had a kill. So I think that they hunt quite regularly. I think they would have to, if you're going to feed clan of 4 or 3, they would have to hunt pretty regularly, and then supplement their diet with vegetation and berries and wild fruit and that kind of thing. So I think they hunt regularly, pretty regularly. They would have to.
Have they done anything to the cabin itself? No, other than just rock throwing and maybe knocking on the not knocking on the door, but just kind of not knocking on it like they wanted to come in, but just banging on the door, which really messes with me. I don't like that.
Florida Cryptid, I think it's an excellent idea to have a thermal imager on a drone. I think anything that we can use technology wise to help us understand these creatures or learn more about their habits or what they do is going to be a benefit to us. So, you know, those of you that have that equipment, I think it's going to be a big benefit. I think uh, whenever researchers started using drones, I think that was a big step forward in being able to understand a lot of these things. And an imager is only going to help that much more. So I think it's an excellent idea.
We're probably gonna have to shut it down pretty quick because we've got to get up really early in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
As you all do, probably going to work and getting the kids to school nowadays.
Charlie, I think they do fish. I think that I think they take advantage of their environment. I mean, these animals have been around for thousands and thousands of years, and I think they take advantage of their environment and utilize anything they can, uh, be it big game, deer, small mammals, fish, crawfish, frogs, snakes, vegetation, wild fruit, berries. If you're an animal that weighs 400 to 600 pounds, you're going to have to eat a lot of food. Uh, I'm really sure that most of their time is wrapped up in finding food and foraging for food. So why wouldn't they eat fish if they could catch them? Why wouldn't they?
I don't like cool enough to breathe out here. Good night.
Good night. Well, folks, we've been cranked up for a little over 2 hours now. I think we're gonna uh, start kind of winding this down.
Yeah, we have been offline for about 4 weeks, but hopefully we'll be back more frequently.
We've had a lot going on at home. Our where we live in Texas, our Texas home, we've had a lot going on down there. It's kept us pretty busy with some different things, and it's kind of kept us away from here. But you know, we're heading into fall and the cooler months, and we're going to be doing a lot of research and a lot of this type of thing. I want to do this down at Roberts Research Area and do a live stream down there. We have the capability of doing that now. We do have Wi-Fi down there at the camp now, so we have the capability of doing live streams from there. So we we'll be doing them from there also. Um, for those of you that we missed your questions, I apologize. A lot of times this chat just moves so fast, it's hard to keep up with it. And I know I probably missed a lot of questions. Um, maybe in the near future, uh, we'll be able just to do a Q&A. And we've done one of those, and I think it was really productive. So maybe in the near future we can sit down one night and just do a Q&A and answer questions. I know I probably missed a lot of questions tonight, and I apologize for that. But if you got a question that's you really want to have answered, send me an email. My email address is searchforbigguy@gmail.com. That's all one word. Search for big guy at gmail.com. Send me an email and I'll answer your question on there. If I can't answer it, I'll find somebody who can. I'm not an expert, but I'm trying to learn as much as I can. Me and Sheila both trying to learn as much as we can. So with that, guys, we're going to wrap it up. I can't let y'all know how much we appreciate you guys, and those of you that take the time to get on here with us. We appreciate it so much. If you hadn't subscribed to the channel, subscribe. We got, I don't know, 120 something videos of information on there. Subscribe to the channel, click that little bell. That way you'll get notifications when we get a new email up. Guys, we love all of y'all. We appreciate you so much. Y'all have a blessed night.